How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me with another math lesson with Mr. Whitford. Today we continue to dive into our unit 3. We're talking about today, we're in rational numbers. We've been talking about how rational numbers are fractions, are decimals that terminate, or decimals that have a repeating pattern, right? We've been dealing with rational numbers, just adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions. But today I want to play around with adding, in particular, playing around with rational numbers and decimals and square roots and fractions, and just play around with all of those things when it comes to adding rational numbers. So please join me in 3.6, open up in your packet. And as usual with every lesson, take a time to start off working on the bell word. Now this bell word is a repeated part of a lesson that we did a while ago. And I want to see if you remember which of these are rational and which are irrational. Take a moment to write rational or irrational here. Pause the video if you need to, and fill this in. All right, so we're gonna dive right into this lesson because I want us to make sure we use it. Now, I'm hoping you have your calculator next to you because remember, the quickest way to test if something is rational or irrational is if you could turn it into a fraction. If you could turn it into a fraction, it's considered rational. All right, so let's dive in. So the first letter number here is pi, right? Pi is considered something called irrational. I'm going to put IR for irrational. 3.14 is considered rational because it terminates, it stops. 5/6 is rational. -8 is rational. Square root of 25 is rational. 12 is rational. 2.3 repeated is rational. And then 1.687, which continues on, we don't know the rest of the numbers, is considered irrational. All right. Now, I like this. I'm happy. I'm hoping that those were good things for you. I'm hoping that it was a refresher. Remember, the square root of 25 is considered a rational number. Why is it? Because of perfect squares. And I know I may have not mentioned much about perfect squares yet. There is a lesson that we're going to go over really soon, which goes over perfect squares, perfect cubes, to let you understand, okay, well, when I put it in the calculator, square root of 25, why does it give me 5 as an answer? And we're going to talk about that soon. But right now, let's play around and let's talk about how to add rational numbers. How do we add these rational numbers? Imagine if I gave you B, C, and D to add together, right? How do I do that, right? The good news in this worksheet is that I'm going to allow you to use calculators. But first, take a moment to see if you can practice just adding these decimals without a calculator. Add these decimals, A, B, and C, without a calculator. If you need to, obviously pause the video now. If you don't need to, then just knock it out, right? But without a calculator. Okay. Now I do want to give you the answers to these. The first one here is going to be 9.1. Now some of you ended up writing it like this. You added them together, you got 11, you carried that 11, you put down the 9, made it 9.1. That's excellent. If you did that, great job. Okay. This is a technique I would use on B and C as well. And you would end up getting 5.9. You would end up getting here 11.7. Let me just double check that in my head. I apologize. So that would be 7. This will be 11. Great. 11.7. Okay. Now, the good news is this lesson today, I will allow you to use calculators. So essentially, we should fly right through this lesson. But I do want to also point out a couple things here, like the square root of 16, and even how to type it in the calculator. Okay. Once again, remember when you type in a negative on the calculator, do not type in subtraction because subtraction and negative are two different buttons. You want to type in the negative button on your calculator in order to put this in. You don't have to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction. All you need to do on your calculator is type in -4, ABC 1, ABC 5 plus 3.7. Okay. When you type this in on your calculator, you hit enter, it's going to give you the answer. And I don't mind if your answer is a decimal or a fraction today. It does, whatever one you feel most comfortable with. I'm going to write this one specifically as a decimal because it is a decimal. You can write a decimal or a fraction, but I'm going to write it as decimal -0.05. Okay. Now that can be written as -1/2 if you want to write it as a fraction. Okay. If you don't have your calculator and you say, well, Mr. I want to challenge myself in this worksheet. So if you want to challenge yourself to do it without a calculator, it's very well possible. Let me show you. First, turn the mixed number into a fraction. And I'm sorry, turn this mixed number into a decimal. And I'm going to do it with green. -4.05. 0.2. Now, how do I know that's 0.2? We use long division. 1 divided by 5, I get 0.2 plus 3.7. Okay. I'm adding these two together. I notice that they're opposite signs. So instead of just adding them, I can subtract them from one another. What's 4.2 minus 3.7? That gives me 0.5. And because 4.2 is negative, my answer is going to be negative. So if you want to do it by hand, this is some of the work that you could do to get your answer. B, once again, if you want to show your work and just show you could do it, of course you could do that as well. You can write it out as negative 6.66, and this always repeats, right? Plus 3.7. Plus, if you type in the square root of 16 on the calculator, you'll get just 4. So you can always do this and begin to do these two first. After you get your answer for that, which is negative, let's say it's negative 3.03, something like that. You can then add 4, and you would end up getting your answer of like 0.97, right? This is us doing it by hand, but like I said, this worksheet we should be able to fly through, being able to just use the calculator. You should be able to just type it in, doing negative 6, ABC2, ABC3, plus 3.7, plus square root of 16. Now, square root is an important place. Find out your calculator by hitting second x squared. If you hit second x squared on your calculator, it will pop up the square root button for you. So that way you're able to put in the square root of 16. That is not a division symbol. Notice it's a little different than that division symbol I showed you before, right? Some division symbols look like this, right? This is not that. This is the actual square root. And that's why I don't really want you to think about this symbol too much, because we won't be using it as much as we will this one. All right? Great. Right? Once you put that in, you should be directed towards the same exact answer we got down here. Okay? Awesome. All right? So that's the lesson in a nutshell. You're knocking this out with a calculator. Take your time, go back over it, check your work, and we should be able to fly right through this lesson. Thank you so much for joining me once again with another math lesson with Mr. Woodford. You can enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in class.